All right, so I'm going to move along here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be inviting in Anthony Gaidas, who's an education specialist from Mosaic by ACT, and also Crystal Pines from there. Okay, so Crystal, I'm going to take my camera off. This is over to you now to introduce what you're doing. We're super excited to hear from you.
Great, thank you. Hello, welcome everyone to today's Lunch and Learn, What's Your Learning Story, presented by the Learning Division of ACT. We're honored to be here and hope to inspire you about your learning story today. Please, if you have any questions during the presentation, go ahead and put them in the Q&A panel, and we'll try to answer them during the last few minutes of today's presentation. My name is Crystal Finnis, and I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager for the Learning Portfolio, and will serve as our moderator today. So ACT is a mission-driven nonprofit organization dedicated to helping people achieve education and workplace success. Grounded in 60 years of research, ACT is a trusted leader and each year serves millions of students, job seekers, schools, government agencies, and employers in the U.S. and around the world with learning resources, assessments, research, and credentials designed to help them succeed from elementary school through career. Presenting with me today is Anthony Giudice. Anthony is our lead learning solution consultant for the East Coast. He specializes in social and emotional health of K-12 students, working with schools and districts to inform and implement Mosaic by ACT's full SEL solution, assessment, curriculum, and professional development. So that it looks like he is going to bring up a presentation here. And with that, I'll turn it over to Anthony.
Hi, everybody. Can you all hear me, I hope? And I don't know, I'm going to wave. Y'all can see me. I'm sitting here. Can you see me? Let's see. Webcams. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I'm a real person living here in New Jersey. I hope everybody's doing well today. And thank you so much for joining us. Can you see my screen, the one comprehensive solution?
Yeah, we can see it, Anthony. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, very good. So as Crystal said, thank you, Crystal. I'm an education specialist. I'm a former teacher and administrator. I work with ACT and primarily focusing on the social and emotional learning, but I'm really excited about our new offerings because, share my webcam. There we go. Let's see. I can't see me, but I don't know if you can see me. It doesn't matter. We're just going to keep going. So at ACT, we have our whole learning division. And most of it, when people say ACT, they primarily think of the test, right? The college admissions evaluation that, goes against the SAT. And really, we're so much more than that. And with that, we have this whole wonderful learning division. And within our learning division, we have very distinct areas that I'm going to go through today. And with these areas, which we are now calling Mosaic, you're going to see that, excuse me, I'm going to just move this. We're going to see the different areas contained in our learning solution. So without any further ado, I will start the slideshow. Okay, that's me. And so what's going on right now? Well, we all know what we're facing. It's 55+ million US children are out of school due to this pandemic, coronavirus. Things are up and down depending on your region. Some schools are fully in, some schools are fully out. Many schools, I'd say most schools are hybrid. And that's really causing a lot of concern. Schools, as we know, play this crucial role in supporting the whole child, not just the academics, right? I've got a second grader and I've got a 4-year-old, and really making sure their social and emotional skills are developed as well as their academic skills is really crucial. Also, when we look at the lower and lower middle income countries, around 40% of children with disabilities are out of school at the primary level, and 55% are out at the lower secondary level. And this information is coming straight from UNICEF. So again, we know how important schools play a role in supporting that whole child. So our focus is on learning. And again, when I say ACT, most people think of the test. How do we measure you into getting into, against your peers to get into this college or that college? Navigation, helping students navigate their way through the education process. The reality is we have 3 distinct areas. We have measurement, which most people know us for, navigation, and again, learning. And again, the learning part is where I come in. We're going to talk about the learning division in now what we call Mosaic. We've been doing this for over 60 years, and we're excited to be going forward with the new, I hate to call it the new normal, but the new normal, and we're ready for it. So a little background, we are a nonprofit organization, and we are guided by our longstanding commitment to bringing equitable and inclusive education and workforce opportunities to all. And emphasis really needs to be on equitable now, especially during this pandemic, when students may or may not have access to certain things that other students in their cities or towns or districts have access to. So using research and innovative technologies, we are able to help educators guide and transform the learning process for individuals. So with Mosaic, we know education isn't a one-size-fits-all. We know that everybody has a different story. So you'll see our tagline, what's your learning story? My learning story as a person is different than my learning story as a community, meaning where I live, what our school's learning stories are, the different types of students, the different types of backgrounds on educators. All that helps us really grow as communities and celebrate those things that make us unique. And through those differences, we really find commonality. And because we connect on those differences, it brings us all together, which, as it says, is a beautiful thing. So under Mosaic, we have our comprehensive learning solution. We have an adaptive academic learning platform. We have our social and emotional learning, which is curriculum, assessment, and professional development. And we have our learning and professional services. I'm going to get into all three of these momentarily. Bigger picture, before we go into each one, is Mosaic by ACT has all of these areas that are encompassed, even a little bit in each one. So our social and emotional learning, looking at that compared to our learning and professional services and our academic adaptive, all of these really build on each other. And you're going to see exactly how they all fit together under the learning division. If you have any questions at the end, please let me know. So we start with our SEL, our social and emotional learning, in a time now where students are, you know, it's, how can I put it without sounding too fatalistic? They're scared. I mean, I talk to my kids every day. I talk to my teacher friends every day. Teachers are scared to go into school. They're nervous. They're uncertain of the future. So having a strong social and emotional skill set and really fostering those social and emotional skills and addressing the needs of the whole child, and even through our professional development of the teachers and administrators and the faculty overall, is really crucial during this time, this unprecedented time. So when we look at our SEL slide here, you'll see that this slide shows you know, many areas of improvement in schools when SEL concepts were implemented. So a great statistic listed on this slide is the lower intervention costs. So we have students, how it's going to help them, evidence-based SEL gains. We have teachers, and when we look at overall, we're looking at, you know, 11 percentile points academically, students are going up. Teachers who possess SEL skills are more likely to stay longer because they're able to see and overcome obstacles and avoid obstacles. Statistically, we're looking at associations measuring SEL K through adult. That's going to help intervention costs go down. So it's the ratio is for every dollar spent on SEL, $11 will be saved in intervention costs later, which is a huge, excuse me, exponential number. When looked at it, even at a district level, it can be huge. All right, moving on. SEL prepares students and educators to activate, motivate, and advance. It's important that students and educators both know the key concepts and terms to social and emotional learning, but without the execution of those terms, knowing how to enact and enable each other to get through and to build on their social and emotional skills, it really just ends up being words on paper. And with our programs and our curriculum, we really teach our students to activate And from those activation, those execution skills, they're going to build confidence, mastery, same with our professional development. It's going to motivate students. Okay, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Using our mental models and frameworks, it's going to give them that confidence to motivate them to go outside of their comfort zone, outside of their circle, and try new things. And from that, advance, using that growth mindset. Our professional development was teamed with Dr. Carol Dweck, if you're familiar with Dr. Carol Dweck, who really wrote the book on growth mindset. So a lot of wonderful things happening within our SEL program. SEL that gets results. So this is how we view our SEL, or the SEL wheel or SEL circle. It really, again, has to be applied. So professional development training, you know, the more teachers, the more educators we can reach, the more they can model it, and they can really be the teachers to show students how it can be done, how it should be done, to lead. And then from there, we have our SEL assessment, okay, which we're calling, it's Mosaic SEL assessment. Most, if you've heard of it before, we call it Tessera. So our SEL assessment, the Mosaic SEL assessment, students would come in, they take the assessment. From there, the administration would get reports, individual reports on each student, as well as a school aggregate report that shows your overall student body and how their SEL skills are in comparison to students across the country. Plus, you'll also get the school climate report, and that school climate report will show you, do your students trust the teachers? How do they feel safety-wise walking in? Socially and emotionally, how do they feel? Do they feel safe and comfortable sharing their thoughts? So it's a tremendous report based on our assessment. From the assessment, then you're able to execute a curriculum. You have your data. You now say, okay, where do we need to work? What skills are we lacking? Where are we really strong? You build your plan. You execute your plan through that curriculum. And then again, you're able to retake an assessment, measure how you compare from the first time you took it. Maybe you took it earlier in the year, maybe you took it halfway through the year. And then from there, again, the cycle continues. I'm going pretty quickly, so I apologize. There will be time for questions at the end. Looking at this. So if you're familiar with CASEL, our programs are CASEL aligned. So CASEL is a collaborative for academic, social, and emotional learning, and they have their 5 core competencies. And those are the 5 on the outside: responsible decision-making, relationship skills, social awareness, self-awareness, self-management. Ours are in the middle, and they are aligned to CASEL. So we say maintaining composure as opposed to self-management. You may see that in our curriculum. Speaking to a second grader and really trying to model SEL skills in my house every day, it's a lot easier to talk to second, third, fourth, and even 10th and 11th graders about maintaining their composure as opposed to self-management. So this is our alignment to CASEL, in case you are familiar with CASEL. If not, I would recommend you check out CASEL because that is really the think tank, if you will, for social and emotional skills. All right. Now, our adaptive, I almost forgot too. We also now offer a trauma-informed social and emotional program for professional development. So we are really building on what is at the forefront of educators' minds. So this had been in the works for a couple of years. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. We are getting a lot of requests for our trauma-informed social and emotional professional development. So we do offer that as well. Now we get into our adaptive academic learning. And this is, as a teacher, to me, this is one of the most incredible things that is out there in general. You know, let's just start with this. You know, what if each student received a personalized learning path based on individual needs? The learning environment could be structured to allow for optimal growth, and performance data was available in real time, allowing you to make quick pivots to instruction. I mean, it's there. And having been a classroom teacher, and I'm sure many of you are or were, it's very difficult with the old way to have 8, 10, 20, 30 kids in a class and try to have personalized learning paths for all of them. That's now possible. So ScoopPad, which was the company, is now called Mosaic Adaptive Academic. It's a K-8 adaptive personalized learning platform. It comes with over 1,100 pre-built math and ELA learning paths aligned to state standards, Common Core, and popular textbooks such as like Go Math, Wonders ELA, Bridges, things of that nature. So students can really start the process of rebounding from knowledge loss, or what we call the COVID slide, if you will, right away. You have 19 different kids in a class. They could be at 19 different levels, even slightly varied. They'll all have their own personalized learning path to fill in those skill gaps. It's incredible. Okay, we have this solution really to help transform the learning environment. Okay, so looking at this, all of this comes from research-based tools that can help reimagine learning to serve as our framework. It's seamless to the student. They're never going to know what's happening as far as behind the scenes, and that's the way it's intended to be. So these tools have proven to be quite effective. Combination of the knowledge map with content scaffolding, spiraling and spacing, depth of knowledge, and technology-enhanced items allow for the creation of learning opportunities that were previously inconceivable in our brick and mortar classrooms. Okay, you may have one student who's 3 reading levels back. You may have one student who's struggling in algebra because his long division is weak. This will find those skill gaps and put that student in those areas to help him or her fix those areas and then build forward. It's really, really an incredible technology. Our digital learning library goes along with this. So we're looking at digital learning and having a vetted resource library. Our online library covers that. So this is our industry-leading pre-K through 12 open ed resource library of over 360,000 digital resources. These resources are expert curated, tagged, and maintained. They're aligned to state and national standards, and they're instantly ready to use for teaching and learning in all content areas. So this also supports individual learning needs for all students, okay? Looking at how things can fit within your classroom. And even when we look back at the ScoopPad or the adaptive platform, there are open ed resources on there where videos can come up instantaneously to give students instructions. A lot of that is pulled from our OER. These are just some of the resources. So sourcing the best instructional resources. Obviously, we can't put all 360,000 plus on here, but you will see that these are some of the most notable ones out there. So how does all this work? Well, it's got to be curated, contextualized, and maintained. So the curation attributes considered. We look at ad level, we look at lesson structure, cognitive effectiveness, degrees, standards of alignment, quality of practice exercises, quality of instructional exercises. There's a whole bunch in here that we take into consideration. Looking at the relevance, does it fit instructional gaps? Does it address state and national standards? Yes and yes. And again, the maintenance, okay? The whole idea is to provide interactive lessons and interactive OER for students and teachers that are vetted, that are age appropriate, grade appropriate, and standards aligned. So they have to be maintained. So it's a constant process of going through, eliminating certain ones, adding others, and it goes on a daily basis. District compliant, I think I covered a lot of this, but really speaking, to the previous speakers before, there's a lot of issues with online privacy acts. This we're covered here, okay? We're compliant with COPA, also with the Children's Internet Protection Act. So having student safety, parent safety, all of that protection is already taken care of. I'm not going to read this whole slide, but a couple other things I really want to point out. It's ideal, especially now, to pivot. So, it can be done in classroom, it can be done at home, or in that hybrid situation. And for me, another thing, it's by educators and for educators. Okay, I want someone who's in the classroom, who knows what's going on geographically, to say, listen, these are the things we're actually using, we actually need, and it's a team, not somebody who believes this is what should be in there, who's not on the ground. So again, this by educator, for educator, really, to me, as an educator, makes a huge difference in what you're going to get in our Open Ed Resource Digital Library. Our learning and professional skills, our learning and professional services, looking at our LPS, this really is designed to work with you to plan and implement actionable strategies in curriculum and assessment, data literacy, and standards alignment. And the whole purpose, the whole goal of this is to promote positive student outcomes. So here we're really looking to be a partner with you, okay? Well, I guess we're looking to partner with you, period. But the whole idea is looking at what your needs are, because we know 2 districts are not alike. And if you have a specific need for professional development, if you have a specific need where you need framework done, any sort of educational consultative service, we're going to be there to work with you to make sure that you get exactly what you need for your RFP, for your classroom curriculum, whatever the case may be. Comprised of former teachers and administrators with decades of combined services. Yep, again, we're looking at a lot of doctorates here, a lot of former administrators, superintendents, all on board with us, helping you, making sure that everything is aligned, written, tested, taught exactly the way it is needed and intended for your specific area. Pushing the whole idea of custom offerings, again, really it's purely custom. Okay, we can look at an RFP, we can work with you on an RFP, write the RFP with you to make sure that everything is aligned the way it needs to be. Credentialing and career development services, again, validated credentials, stackable credentials, career ladders, up the gamut. So it's a really impressive service that we do offer, again, which most people don't know that we offer because they immediately think of the test. Even my friends that I've known for years come to me with test questions. I work in the learning division. Here are some pictures and testimonials. Research shows us that kids are smart and strong, but they still need our help, right? These programs are designed to develop learning skills and are not only important during the current crisis, but they really also are going to prepare students to deal positively with future adversities. Okay, we're really super excited when we hear feedback from our partners in our schools about how our programs are impactful, how they make a difference. And again, having done this, and, bleed this, I work on it here, and even seeing my own kids, how they use it now really has such great results. It makes me feel great when I see them doing it on their own. Scoop Pad, again, I can't say enough good things about it. I'm going to go through this a little bit quickly. iCurio is our digital online, okay? And it's just now called Mosaic Digital Online, our Open Ed resources. And finally, looking at the continuity, it's really, everything here is designed to be pivotable, or is that a term? Able to be pivoted. Whether you're in class, in a blended setting, like my daughter, she's home, but she also is in a class, some of her students are in a class, so her teacher's teaching to both students in class and at home. Distance learning, small groups, distance learning, independent students, distance learning, all this can be supported through any of our LPS, SEL, adaptive academic, digital, all of it. So with that, we have free resources available as well to help your students and families back to school. So please don't forget to check out our free resources. Those can be found at act.org/COVID-19. And I think we have a few minutes left for any questions. So I apologize for going so fast, but I only get about 25 minutes. So thank you for your time.
Hey, Anthony,
Thanks, Anthony.
Maybe you can answer the question for me. So what do you feel is happening in the districts for the problem that gets solved by this? What's actually happening with, as you enter in and try to talk to districts, what kind of problems are they talking to you about?
Gosh, where to start? So I think the biggest, so I live in New Jersey, and looking at the north, and I can speak for the schools in the north, but I can't even speak for all of them because they're all different. But a lot of the issues that they're specifically talking about are how do I get my students? I've got, coming into school. So last year, everything shut down in March. Okay. March, April, students stopped going back to school. So how do I assess my students right when they come in? I've got now incoming third graders, but I don't really know how they finished in second grade. So did they truly get that benchmark of being a third grader? Are they truly, I hate to say truly third graders. So understanding where their academic levels are has been a big concern. And that's when they look at something like SCOOPAD or the adaptive academic, you go through a diagnostic and it shows those skill gaps. So that's a huge thing. So having instructors and teachers be able to put these, 18 kids in their class on individual learning paths has been huge for them because they know that the skill gaps are being addressed even though the teacher's not right in front of them to help them. Social and emotional is the number one thing I'd say outside of that. We get that from a lot of teachers. And listen, I've got kids, I've mentioned that a few times. I see how my kids are struggling with this, but I also work with a lot of teachers and teacher unions, and the teachers are struggling with that. They're, to be able to go in and, they have families too. So the whole idea of social and emotional awareness and skills, I'd say that's the number one thing I'm hearing overall. But as far as in-class instruction, it's not knowing where the students are based on the fact that they never really had a chance to finish in a traditional sense last school year. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, well, definitely our research in the national survey is showing that we're coming into sort of the golden age of looking at what you're using for digital instructional material. Definitely, we're projecting a massive increase. There was a big increase this year. We're looking at another big increase in the next year. So hopefully people are finding you and looking at what Mosaic is doing, because I know your company scrambled and did some real miraculous work in a pretty short period of time, software-wise, that personally I'm proud of, and I'm a software nut. So it's good to have you with us today, Anthony. Thank you so much. Hopefully you continue to lurk for the rest of the day so you can bring up questions and issues as we get into the other speakers. But thank you very much for sharing with us today.
Great, thank you all so much. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and you can always contact me at, I don't know if my contact information's up there, but if not, you can find me at act.org. Thank you.
Sure. And then Crystal, is there anything else that you want to add, or?
Nope. If you want to learn more, I think he mentioned it before, but our landing page is act.org/learning. So there's a lot more information out there, white papers, blogs, things like that. So thanks again for having us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And like I said, I hope you guys continue to lurk throughout the day and ask questions.
All right.
Yeah, thanks a lot.